What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, undefeated British welterweight superstar title contender, Conor Benn, we know ahead of his highly anticipated rivalry showdown with the son of another legend in former world champion, middleweight title contender, British superstar boxer, Chris Eubanks Jr., who's the son of a legend, Chris Eubanks Sr., who Conor Benn is the son of another legend, Nigel Benn. Nigel Benn, Chris Eubanks Sr., they have a rivalry, okay? And their sons was set to face off against each other in another rivalry, right? To keep the rivalry going. And Conor Benn tested positive for a banned substance, okay? Conor Benn, tested positive for a banned substance. The fight with him and Chris Eubanks Jr. Got postponed, okay? It got canceled altogether. And, Conor Benn, he's promoted by Matchroom CEO and promoter, Eddie Hearn, okay? Eddie Hearn stood by Conor Benn, right? When this news first broke that Conor Benn tested positive and that this fight was going to be, canceled, Eddie Hearn went tooth and nail with the media. He went tooth and nail with the boxing commission, the BBC, the British Board of Boxing Commission, right? Eddie Hearn, he went tooth and nail defending Conor Benn, right? Saying that Chris Eubanks Sr., Chris Eubanks, everybody was aware, of what was taking place. Everybody was already privy to the information that Conor Benn had tested for the banned substance, and that, everybody, had this, was under the understanding that Conor Benn tested positive for this banned substance, and that, he's being treated unfair. Okay. Now this fight was going to take place at a catchweight, okay, of 157, because as we know, right, Conor Benn is a welterweight. He's never fought for a world title. He's never won a world title. To win a world title, you got to be in it. You got to be in it to win it, right? Okay, and Conor Benn, 21 wins, no losses, no draws. Okay, 14 wins by way of knockout. He is 26 years of age, 5'8" with a 68-inch arm reach. Okay, he's going up to challenge Chris Eubanks Jr. Okay, Chris Eubanks Jr. is a former world champion at 168. He's a title contender at 160. Okay, Chris Eubanks Jr. Obviously is the bigger guy, right? Chris Eubanks Sr. Chris Eubanks Jr. is 32 wins, 2 losses, no draws. 23 wins by way of knockout. He's an older fighter at 33, 5'11" with a 72-inch arm reach. So the fight was going to take place at a catchweight at 157, to which Conor Benn was moving up 10 pounds from 147 to 157. Chris Eubanks is going down 3 pounds from 160 to 157. Now he's a world champion at 168. His father, Chris Eubanks Sr., who has a rivalry with Nigel Benn, he stated that, he was very worried. He asked the media and the fans and everybody to boycott this fight because he stated that, Chris Eubanks was too old. Now, they had just suffered a tragic loss to Chris Eubanks' other son. So Chris Eubanks was too old to try to attempt to drop 3 pounds. It's not good for his brain, and to take punishment, so on and so forth, right? And he was asking the media and everybody to boycott this fight. He didn't want this fight to push forward, right? And everybody was obviously pushing for the fight. And then Chris Eubanks Sr., he went on a tangent. He was even crying. He was upset. He said that his son is not listening. But it's abundantly clear that Chris Eubanks Sr., he was very well aware of some things that's taking place behind the scenes. Hence the reason why, he was wanting to boycott this fight, because he was already privy that Conor Benn had tested positive for a banned substance, because he tested positive twice. So he tested positive before this, and then he tested positive for this fight, right? And so that's the reason why Chris Eubanks Sr. was raising these red flags, along with obviously the health concerns with with Chris Eubanks dropping so much weight, okay? And Eddie Hearn was going tooth and nail defending Conor Benn. And the big fight got canceled. And what do you know today? Eddie Hearn is putting his hands up in the air. And Eddie Hearn is like, listen, Conor Benn is going to have to prove that he's innocent or it's over. His career is over. Now, Eddie Hearn was fighting tooth and nail. He said that he's going to have to reveal his innocence. He's going to have to do his due diligence. He's going to have to dig deep to find his innocence and to find a way to prove to the fans or it's over. Right, Eddie. This is the whole reason why Eddie Hearn is changing his tune, because Eddie Hearn understands that. Look what we just had this past weekend. We had David Morrell taking on Ottos. Now, David Ottos took so much punishment in the fight, he's in an induced coma, and the doctors are saying it's not looking good. Okay, that's terrible. And this is a fight that was on the up and up, fair and square. You can't have unfair advantages in the sport of boxing. You just can't do it. Okay, there's no place for that, right? Because guess what? It's already dangerous in itself. Now you add in unfair advantages to these fighters and having, superhuman powers, right? So Conor Benn is moving up all this weight, right? And now his last 3 fighters are saying that he had unnatural power. You have Chris Van Heerden, who fought Errol Spence. He fought Jerome Boots Ennis. And he's saying that Conor Benn's power is different from their power. They have more power, but he had a different type of power. And he feels like he had it from an unfair advantage, okay? And now Eddie Hearn is backing off. And now Eddie Hearn is feeling like, Eddie Hearn is seeing the pressure. You can't defend this. There's no place for this in the sport of boxing, point blank and period. It's undefensible. It's indefensible, okay? So Eddie Hearn initially stated that he feels shafted, okay? Eddie Hearn believes he has been shafted in the fallout from Conor Benn's failed drug test and insists he has put his on the line for the boxer, right? So now he feels like he put his neck out there, Eddie Hearn, and he don't know what's going on with this situation. So he says the whole thing was a mess and a disaster, and I take our reputation very serious. I love this sport, but with all of this we put up with, all the bother, I don't need it, right? It's a soul destroying when people accuse us of not respecting the sport. Conor's reputation has to be rebuilt, but I feel we've been shafted, right? So Eddie Hearn is saying that he put his reputation on the line. He feels like they've been shafted. Essentially, Eddie Hearn understands that this is not a good look at all whatsoever. You can't defend this. It's a terrible look. There's no place for this in the sport of boxing, period. So Eddie Hearn says that they've been shafted, right? But he's backing out, right? He's saying that Conor Benn has to prove himself. He put his reputation and everything on the line, right? And now Conor Benn has to clear his name. There's no way to clear your name in this situation. How are you going to defend testing positive for a banned substance twice? How? There's no defense for that. You tested positive for a banned substance twice, and wasn't going to make the public aware of this. And since VADA, Voluntary Anti-Doping Agency, they stepped in, right? Because you have UKAD, United Kingdom Anti-Doping Agency, they didn't find no issue with it, right? But VADA stepped in and said, no, he's tested positive. And then the Boxing Commission, the British board, the BBBC, decided, wait, hold on. UKAD don't want to flag him, but VADA is flagging him, and we're gonna follow with VADA because we don't want nothing to do with this if something goes sideways. Point blank and period. That's what happened here. VADA don't want nothing to do. UKAD didn't want to flag him, but clearly they saw something, and then VADA, they didn't want to. They flagged him, but they wasn't using VADA. So the British Board of Boxing Commission and didn't want nothing to do with this. They didn't want to be responsible, so they pulled the fight off the table. They wasn't willing to approve the fight, and so Eddie Hearn was going tooth and nail trying to find other commissions to approve the fight, and nobody wanted to touch it. Why? because nobody's going to put their risk. This is something serious could happen, and Eddie Hearn knew it. Now Eddie Hearn is feeling like he's being shafted because he knows Eddie Hearn feels like he's been shafted by Conor Benn. That's what he's been shafted by, period. So let's see how this unfolds. Look at this situation with David Morrell and Ados. Ados is in a induced coma, and it was fair and square. Imagine if he had an unfair advantage. Enhancement. No place for that in the sport of boxing. And that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shouts out to the entire LDBC. Shouts out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.